when thinking about the big emotions that God has given us, particularly the negative ones, four of the big ones are anger and sadness and fear and guilt. And trying to get our heads around how do we understand these things that God has given us. And a way to understand those four big emotions is to picture them a little bit like a fire alarm in a house. And so when anger goes off and fear goes off and guilt goes off and sadness goes off, they're screaming that something is wrong. And when a fire alarm goes off in a house, you can't rest. It sets you on high alert that something is wrong and something needs to be done. And if we're feeling sad, it's because we've lost something. If we're feeling scared, it's because we're scared of losing something. If we're feeling angry, something or someone has taken or attacked in some sort of way. And if we're feeling guilty, then we've done something that is out of line with who we are. And each of those emotions are screaming, something's wrong and this needs fixed. And it's like a fire alarm in a house. But just like in a house, a fire alarm can go off for all sorts of reasons. It's there so that if the kitchen is burning down and is going to destroy the house and kill everyone in it, the fire alarm goes off so that the people in the house know to get out of there as quick as they can. Something is badly wrong and action needs to be taken. But the fire alarm in the house doesn't just go off when the kitchen's burning down. Actually, it can go off for a whole pile of reasons. The reason can be as small as in the morning you put the toast down and you accidentally, when it pops, you accidentally forget that it's down. You put it down again and it starts to get a bit black and a little bit of smoke just rises up to the smoke alarm and the alarm starts ringing. Now, what's important is that the sound of the alarm is not different, whether it's just toast or whether the whole house is burning down. The alarm sounds the same. It's screaming to the people in the house, get out. But actually, if there's a fire, yeah, you get out. But if it's toast, you wave the tea towel and you say to the fire alarm, it's just toast. Don't worry about it. Turn off. And for children, those big emotions are like that fire alarm, where it's screaming that something's wrong, but what they don't have is they don't have it calibrated to know, is this because the house is burning down or is it because it's just a little bit of burnt toast? And so take the strong emotion of anger. It's like a fire alarm screaming inside a child. And it can go off, if they see their little brother or little sister being picked on by a vicious bully, that angry fire alarm will ring to say this is wrong and something needs to change. But because it's not calibrated, if they're playing in the sandpit and they set their bucket down and they're doing something and their brother or sister picks up the bucket, they can turn around and see this as an attack, and the same angry fire alarm starts screaming at them that injustice has been done and action needs to be taken. And so they can respond to their sibling who innocently enough picked up their sand bucket the same way that they would respond to a vicious bully that is picking on their younger brother or sister. Because for them, the fire alarm is ringing exactly the same way. It's because it hasn't been developed yet. And one of the things that we need to teach our children is these fire alarms are great gifts from God. They're telling us that something's wrong and something needs to be done. But what we have to do is we have to learn when to listen to them and run out the building because the building's on fire, and when to wave the tea towel at the fire alarm to say, actually, it's just toast. Actually, my little brother or sister didn't realize that I was still using the bucket. This wasn't an attack on me. It was just a misunderstanding. But what we have to let the children know is that fire alarm is real, because to them, both angers feel the same. And we have to get our children to understand that actually what they're feeling is extreme. And one of the jobs that we have to do is to train these fire alarms that when it's time to scream And actually, when it's time to just wave the tea towel and tell it to shh, it's just a bit of burnt toast. And when we're doing that, one of the things that we have to understand is God has given us a body that is amazing and is wired so wonderfully and so delicately, and so that when we are in situations where anger is appropriate, or fear is appropriate, or guilt is appropriate, or sadness is appropriate, and these alarm bells are ringing, that they need to be listened to. But He's also given us a body that can be trained and developed. And one of the ways that we can wave the tea towel in front of alarm when it's just toast is actually through our breathing. There's the old saying, breathe deeply and count to 10 when you feel angry. Actually, there's a lot of good wisdom in that. There's the picture of smelling a flower, taking a deep breath, and blowing a leaf. And one of the things that does is that actually calms us down. That when that angry alarm is ringing off the hook, and our children are able to say, actually, this is just toast, that doesn't stop the alarm. You actually have to wave the tea towel to get the smoke away. And the way that we can teach our children to do that is actually by calming themselves down, by taking those deep breaths. Smell a flower, blow a leaf. Smell a flower, blow a leaf. And in doing that, what we can do is we can help them to calm those strong emotions down and to take some control of them, that in those smaller moments, when actually the alarm doesn't need to ring, we can teach them to quieten it down.